Wild Coast FM, your community connection.
Thank you very much, and a very good morning, Bonds. How are you doing this morning?
Good morning. Very well, thank you, Peter.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about my naughty dogs, but what we are going to talk about is the possibility of getting a second job.
Yes, it's actually becoming a very common practice, and why I wanted to chat about it is for both the person that would like to find a second job and for companies that, at the moment are still quite restrictive on the employees finding a second job. So, people find a second job for many reasons. Obviously, to supplement your income is the obvious one. But people also do it to exercise a talent or a passion that they have, which they don't necessarily have in the workplace in their more formal job. Maybe to try out a new career field. They're thinking of doing something, not 100% certain if that's what they want to leave their current job for. And just to build new skills and meet new people, especially in the online space. A lot of people are trying to play a little bit, and it's not something they can go in full-time. They don't have the experience. But doing this as a second job allows them to gain that experience. So, of course, there's many, many reasons people find that second job. And finding a second job, especially a young person, of course, can add huge amounts of experience on your CV. So in other words, you're accumulating double amount of skills in a short period of space, and it'll help your career path. But at the moment, many companies are still very conservative in allowing their staff members to find a second job. In fact, most employment contracts have that standard clause that restricts you from doing it unless you get permission in writing and so on and so on. I'd like to encourage companies to reevaluate that. And, every now and again, you do need to start looking at your generic HR paperwork as such. And for many reasons, again, because in the current climate that we're currently in, life has become extremely expensive. And people cannot afford, everyone's gone backwards. The cash flow is just not the same anymore. So people are desperate to earn an extra 500 odd rand into their current budget. And they're either going to go find a new job, so you're going to lose that employee, or you're going to allow them to find it themselves through the second job scenario. Now, of course, you've got to have some restrictions in place. Many people have these, they're involved in selling Tupperware, selling Avon, selling honey jewelry, all these little magazine kind of purchases that you can do. And employees are concerned that they're doing it during working hours, they're distracting their colleagues. They might even be using the equipment, like their computers, to go to do their work. Sure, put some restrictions in place to try and prevent that. It's a little bit of give and take. If the person wants to sit at their desk during lunchtime or come in half an hour early, I don't see much harm in it, because what you're doing is you allowing your staff member to, first of all, to supplement their income. So what you have done is decrease the amount of stress they're going to have on the financial side, which means you're going to have a happier, more productive employee, and you can retain that employee, and everyone's in the same boat. So I'm really strongly encouraging companies to consider reevaluating those clauses and allowing people to do what they need to do to supplement that income. But again, for young people, unfortunately, we all had to start somewhere, and at first income is never quite enough to cover the expenses that you want to be independent. And so, you're forced to find that second job. And we have to accept that starting salary is what it is. You walk into any room, okay, that you have 20-odd graduates, they've even got their degrees, and they're either in their first job or their second job. And you ask them, are they entirely happy with their current job? And none of them will say yes. And you say, why? 95% of them will say it's the money. Because it is the money. Things are expensive. They want to have independence, so they want to move into their own apartment or flat, or granny flat, whatever it may be. They want to have a cell phone. They want to have an iPad. There's expenses. They want to be able to socialize. So there are expenses that their current first job doesn't cover. So find the second job, and there are so many things. I mean, we're talking about the arbitrary things that are quite easy to find, and that's like the weekend work or the waitressing in the evenings. Sure, you're tired, but you're going to be even more tired when you have kids and you're doing the same amount of hours. So you might as well get that work ethic going now already. So there's a lot of online stuff that you could be doing.
Yeah, but when it comes to online, Bonnie, this is where it becomes a bit of a minefield, because there are so many scams out there, so many dubious schemes, pyramid schemes, and you could get sucked in, spend a lot of time and a lot of money, and end up losing money. So if you are going to do something online, be very, very careful.
Absolutely. I mean, don't make any silly moves. If you're going to do a second job, you better be making money out of it and not losing. Be smart about finding, and it's like finding your formal employment. It's the exact same thing. Make sure you're following the right steps. But there are quite a lot of opportunities online, and those opportunities are global. You know, I was chatting to someone recently who said there's a huge amount of opportunity as web developers, as example. You don't have to be sitting in the same city or the same country as your client. It's all online. So if you have those kind of skills, utilize them. Running social media campaigns, building databases, there's all sorts of things that can be done. But without a doubt, there's a way for you to earn that extra income. And it's not always about the extra income. Do you know, I work with many clients that are starting a second job. They might call it a project, and it's because they want some excitement. It's like a business game to them. So they want some passion. So it might not be in a generic corporate environment that they find themselves in, but it's a passion. Just in East London, I can list many companies that are second jobs that might even be run by someone else that they hired to do it, but they've created it because it's something they're extremely passionate about. And I think it's so important that as responsible sort of baby boomer generation X's that are have to be responsible to paying off bonds, we're paying school fees and things like that. At the same time, though, so we stay in the same job, although we're so bored, we can't believe we're putting on the same work clothes every day and going to work, and there's no real sort of fire being lit in our guts. So you find something, because that's the job that pays the bills. Now find something else that you're excited about and mix the two together. And you can do it all. I often have this discussion that you find time for something that you're passionate about. So there are those minutes in the day that you can put towards something that can excite you. And if you do it right, and normally if you love something, you do it right, you can earn some extra income out of it, which would be a bonus.
I think one of the good parts is if you have a hobby or a talent, which you can then turn into a little business, which will generate cash. And of course, for the millennials, if you're YouTube and tech savvy, you can be famous for being famous and get millions of followers, and people will pay you.
That 1 in a million is going to make it. I mean, my daughter thinks she's famous on YouTube, but she only gets as far as making little videos on my phone. But, you're right. People love it. They've got to find those opportunities. And they've got to go for it. And that could be like a passion. I mean, you list the amount of people have become extremely famous and wealthy and celebrities through the YouTube space. And it might, it's not only about acting. It's about their talent. So you might be able to, show how to make things, how to do things, opinions. You could become a blogger and someone could start paying you to write for them. I spoke recently about the guy that was doing Instagram, and suddenly he was paid to go overseas and spend 2 weeks at a stunning holiday in Mauritius. There's so many things that you could be doing. And I think the point is that you've got to be brave enough to take that step. And these second jobs are low risk. Remember, this is not your job that is going to be paying the bills. It's something that you're hoping will cover. I've even heard people that are in certain environments, and we know certain environments have high retrenchment ratios. So you're concerned. You don't know how safe your job is. So you get the second job so that in case you get retrenched, you have an income. It might not be the same income that you're currently earning, but you have an income that can cover you while you're trying to find another job, which doesn't take place normally in 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. You might be unemployed for 2 months. And for some people, it means you can't pay your bond or you can't pay your rent. What happens? So it's just a way to create an extra security even for yourself.
There are quite a lot of sites that are freelance sites where anything goes. I mean, you can be asked all kinds of information, and can you do this and can you do that, and just go and check them out, and maybe check a few people's profiles and ask them questions. Are they happy? Are they getting paid regularly, and that type of thing? And you would be absolutely staggered by what people are looking for, and maybe you can supply them with that.
Yeah, you might have that skill, and you could do that between 10 and 11 at night. Supplement income of another 20%. It's a win-win.
Absolutely. Bonds, thanks very much. Always great chatting to you. And who knows, maybe Alex will become a YouTube star one of these days.
Okay.
Thanks, Bonds. Ciao. Bonnie Curran, the captain of Curran Consulting. Always very interesting. Thank you very much to Curran Consulting.